Hey guys, Ken here from Crosshair Games X, bringing you a short explanation between my perceived differences of the G305, the wireless variant of the G203. So, interestingly enough, there are some differences. Even though they look like they're the exact same mouse, I do feel a few of them. And I'll get to explaining that in just a bit. But let's get down to spec here. It's probably best to start with the G203. It is your typical wireless mouse. You could get it for around $41 retail at the store. They're not too uncommon to find in one of those popular FPS mice out there. They're very typical. You got your two buttons here. You got your scroll wheel in button, and you got your DPI button and some RGB. That's about it. It has four feet around the edges and one in the center. You go up to about 16,000 DPI, I believe. And you know, this is newer than my G305, but I'm going to start rocking this thing a little more on FPSs due to the weight. Speaking of weight, the G305 is a lot heavier. This is because it's battery powered and has a lot of time if you do run it on battery. It's the exact same mouse, but it feels a little less premium, to be honest. The G203 feels a lot smoother, especially on the sides, and it feels like the curves actually on the sides of this mouse are actually a little bit safer. They curve inward, as you can see, make it a little hard for people who like to fingertip grip with big hands, but I like the palm grip, I like the claw on these, so not too much concern. It feels like the tip of the G305, the wireless variant, is actually a little bit more narrow and not as safe, but it does feel like this mouse, due to the texture, is a little less premium. And if I click around on the G203, it actually, you know, it's just like, it sounds pretty good. Not a lot of noise, not a lot of rattle outside of the cord, but when it comes to the G305, I feel like the quality is mostly in mouse 1 and 2. If you listen, you'll hear a rattle. Kind of hard to hear, but it is there. The mouse 1 and 2 buttons feel a little less premium, a little cheaper, a little more rattly when you click it. But speaking of weight, this is a few grams heavier than the G203, even with my modifications on it. You could take the black back plate off right here. The dongle is connected to my laptop right now because I do use it for my laptop as a portable mouse, but I do have a mod. The AA battery can be converted using a AAA into a AA converter to lighten the load. The lithium battery is also lighter and is all around a better battery than your typical AA battery from Duracell or something. The lithiums are a lot better. That being said, the back being hollow also makes it feel a little less premium. The shell isn't all that thick. Performance-wise, they are the exact same. I love both of them, but I have a feeling that just because of the weight and the quality concern, as far as that's concerned, I like the G203 better. The wire is kind of high grade. Because it's not braided, I can't really say too much about it, but it is a very flexible cable. Right now it's on a bungee, so I can't do much with it, but as you can see, it's pretty flexible. It slides around just nicely, but makes a lot of noise if you have a hard table like mine. But the G305, I mean, it's pretty much a future. If they could get this thing a little lighter, get a rechargeable version, then this would be premium. This is all around probably one of the best wireless mice you can get at a budget. You can get it for just $20 over the G203, to be honest. There may not be RGB here, but let's get real. RGB is kind of whack. And, you know, I've used this one a lot more, but I plan on rocking the G203 so I can get those nasty flick shots on Titanfall. So this has been a short little video. If you have any questions, concerns, mention in the comments. These are smaller to medium-sized mice, so if you have really large hands, you might want to have a try on one of these before actually buying one. My hands are actually a very extra large, but I have a unique way of gripping, and I tend to fingertip grip these ones Sometimes I hybrid grip, sometimes I claw grip, but usually I fingertip grip these. Just beware, fingertip grip does mean a lot more strain on your fingers when the game sessions are a lot longer. Again, the G305 seems a lot less premium in build quality, but and a lot more narrow due to the textures of the edges, and it feels like the edges are a lot more narrow than the G203. Keep that in mind. G203 actually feels a tiny bit wider because it slopes in a lot less than the G305. Wish I could show you better. Perhaps I can with a better camera in the near future, but I'm going to rock the G203 tonight, and I'll be back with a nice review of how it performs compared to one of my favorite wireless mice ever.